Grazie. Most of us know that means thank you in Italian, but what are some ways that we can express thanks when we're in Italy? As we know, a little thanks goes a long way, so I'm taking another lesson in Italian to learn some useful phrases that can be used in different scenarios, plus some etiquette lessons too, on episode 272 of the Untold Italy podcast.
Ciao a tutti and benvenuti to Untold Italy, the travel podcast where you go to the towns and villages, mountains and lakes, hills and coastlines of Bella Italia. Each week your host, Katy Clarke, takes you on a journey in search of magical landscapes, history, culture, wine, gelato, and of course, a whole lot of pasta. If you're dreaming of Italy and planning future adventures there, you've come to the right place.
Ciao amici, buongiorno friends, come stai? How are you doing today? I hope you're very well and are ready for another little Italian language and cultural lesson with my lovely friend Monica from Su Misura Italy, a language coaching service that I personally use. We wanted to make an episode for you about how to express appreciation, and we'll get started on that in a minute. But in fact, there is no better time than now to say grazie and thank you to all of you, our listeners, for tuning in each and every week. We really appreciate you. The first episode of the Untold Italy podcast was published over 5 years ago now, and many of you have been with us from the very start. And it's incredible to think about that sometimes. Some of you I have met in person, which has been very special, but we also appreciate all the notes, messages, and reviews that you send. There would be no Untold Italy podcast if we didn't have listeners, so grazie mille. And let's start learning about all the ways that you can express appreciation when you visit Italy. Bentornata, Monica. Welcome back to the Untold Italy podcast.
Ciao, Katy. It's such a nice feeling to be back here.
Yes, it's always great to chat with you. I always learn something new, and I have to admit, I do love your Torinese accent. It's beautiful. What's been happening in your world lately?
So many news, actually. I just decided to do something crazy and move back to Italy, to my hometown for 3 months. So I will have a Italian summer, so June, July, and August in Italy, in Piemonte mostly, but I will travel a bit and we will meet in Rome as well. So that's the first big one. And the second one is I will soon move back to Melbourne. So after our trip, we will come and live in Melbourne again, actually in the Mornington Peninsula, which is south of Melbourne, in our beautiful little house that has a very big garden. So our kids can play there and our dogs as well. So I'm very excited about my 2025.
I know. I can't believe it's almost halfway through and you've got so many adventures planned, and we're going to meet each other in person for the first time. So that's going to be great. And then you're moving here. Amazing.
Yeah. And then we can record a podcast together. Like you can come over or I can come over and then we'll be in the same room, which will be nice.
I just had a few good ideas. Anyway, we'll keep them to ourselves so people can tune in and hear them later in 2025 when you're over here. But Monica, for our listeners who haven't met you yet, can you please remind everyone of your background and what you do?
Well, my name is Monica Cazzamani Bona, and I now live in Perth, where I have 2 dogs, 2 kids, and a husband. I own a little school that is dedicated on helping students to learn Italian via personalized programs and lessons. So it's called Su Misura. Su Misura Italy. Su Misura in Italian means tailor-made. So what we do and what we hope we are doing is like literally tailor every lesson on our student in a way that is quite simple, becomes natural, an appointment that students really want to participate. Yes, I'm doing this from 2018, so it's quite a long time now, and I love it. And you are one of my students, so you probably have to tell something about it.
Yes, we love what you do, and it's a lot of fun. And I'll talk a bit about it at the end, because It's a different approach. Everyone learns languages differently. There's lots of different ways you can learn, and you just need to find the one that works for you. And Monica has put together a really great program where it's very interactive, and it's got an appointment that I have to make, and I have to show up, and I don't like letting people down. So for me, it works really, really well. It's a bit like going to the gym, but it's learning Italian.
Yeah, I always say that is for me is exactly that idea. If I don't have a personal trainer, I just don't go to the gym. Even if I have everything set up and I can watch video, YouTube or everything, it's just like, it's true. Like these days, there is so much where you can learn by yourself, you can do apps and things, but in the same time, somehow it's good to have a sort of a program that help you out. And this is what we try to do. And we try to take a bit of distance from what is the regular school setting where you actually follow a book that is the same for everyone.
Yeah, I really like it. I feel like it's custom made to me, like Su Misura. So, exactly.
I always have to explain that Su Misura, it's what does it mean? Because on my Instagram account, for instance, is Su Misura Italy, no? So people sometimes call me Su because they think Su is my name and Misura maybe the surname. I have this name for so long now and I don't want to change it. But in the same time, if you don't know the language, you probably don't get it straight away.
Now, after saying your 1,000th grazie for the day, it can get a little bit overdone, can't it? So when you suggested that we teach our listeners some different ways to express appreciation in Italian, I just thought that was such a great idea. So shall we dive into that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I think everyone knows grazie. And hopefully I've pronounced it quite well. But I think pronouncing it can be a little bit challenging for people. So I think it is a matter of, if you really want to express appreciation in a very genuine way, it's a good idea to get the pronunciation pretty correct because we sometimes hear people trying, which is great, but we also want to make sure we're actually getting the word right because I don't know what it might mean something different. I don't know if you say it wrong.
Yeah, that's always like the chance, in Italian sometimes, but like in English, if you mispronounce a word, I always say the example about when I ask my husband if we can change the sheet on the bed and he always laugh because I can't say it well. So yeah, similar. But in saying that, if you mispronounce grazie, people will understand. But what I always say is to just try to spell it right. So people actually use it even with me. Sometimes they just write me an email and then just write grazie. And some people misspell it. They put a C at the end, a C at the end, grazie. But we need to remember that grazie is spelled with a Z. That's the most important thing. The Z in Italian is pronounced more like a TS in English. Okay, so that's the first thing I usually say. Concentrate on the Z, okay? And then pronounce very well the last letter, which in English is a E, but in Italian is pronounced E, very large, E, okay? Do you want to try it with me? Just to do E.
E.
Very good. So grazie. Okay. So at the start, when you try to say words, I always suggest just go slow. Doesn't matter. Drag the word as much as you can, and train your tongue just to use it. And then more you get confident with that word, the more you can then say the word quickly. So I know you say it well, but maybe it's a good exercise for your listener. So if you can say with me, grazie.
Grazie.
Very good. Yeah. So once you can say grazie, nice, you can stop here, or you can maybe do something more. Okay. In Italian, we say 1,000 thanks. Okay. So 1,000 in Italian is mille. Do you want to try with me?
Mille.
Very good. So grazie mille means thank you very much, like many thanks. But we actually say thanks 1,000. Grazie mille.
Grazie mille.
Very good. So that's a little pro. Otherwise, you can say grazie per. Per in Italiano means for, okay? So for instance, you could say grazie per la cena, which is thanks for the dinner. Do you want to try?
Grazie per la cena.
Uh-huh. Or grazie per la visita. La visita is the visit. So like if a tour guide take you around and take you to visit Rome, for instance, or a site, then you can say grazie per la visita.
Grazie per la visita.
Yeah, very good and very easy to use.
So I think, there's different ways we can express gratitude. And I think thank you is like it's the straightforward way. But I was thinking when you were just talking that if someone does something well and you want to maybe praise them as well, then I know a lot of people in Italian say brava or bravo, and that's a word that I really like to use because it's an easy one to remember, I think, for me anyway.
Everyone, yeah, I think it's because when you go to theater here, often people say from the French, bravo. So you applause and then you say bravo. Important, you already know, but maybe not everyone knows, the difference between brava and bravo. Do you know what's the difference between brava and bravo, Katie, or can you explain?
Sure, I'll have a go. One is for the feminine, so brava. And if you're saying it about a woman, you say brava, or a girl. And if you're saying it about a man or a boy, you say bravo.
To remember is I always explain a rule like Mario and Maria. Everyone knows that Maria is a girl and Mario is a boy. So think about the Maria ends by A, so it's brava. And Mario ends by O, so it's bravo. Okay. So that's a very good one. So you could say bravo on brava in situation like, again, theater or a show. So you applause, which is applaudire, no? Or battere le mani, to beat your hands, let's say. Batti le mani, and then you say brava or bravo. But you can't say the same word. For instance, if you want to say it's good in taste. Similar, we have, again, two different ways to say, based on if you describe something that was good, that was feminine, or good and was masculine. Do you remember how to say it's good?
Buonissimo.
Okay, perfect. It's very good. So you actually add issimo at the end of buono. So if you add issimo at the end of a word, that becomes very. In fact, you could have said as well, very good in performance. So brava becomes
bravissimo. Bravissima, sorry.
Brava, bravissima, buono, buonissimo. Okay, so that's good. We already learned other two words, buono and buonissimo. See, that's for taste. But if you want to say that something is beautiful, like in look, we often say like, hi, beautiful, in Italian, like in English. How do you say beautiful?
Ciao, bella.
Perfetto. So again, we have bravo, performance, okay, buono, taste, bella, in look, okay? Or if it's a boy, you will say
bello.
Mm-hmm. So if you speak about Rome, cities in Italian are feminine. So you can say Roma è. So if you remember from another episode, we actually record è means it is. No? So Roma è bella or bella Roma, you could actually just say. No? So we are describing a city, so we can just say bella. But if you want to say that the restaurant, masculine, il ristorante bello. So, bravo, buono, bello. Then there is another one, which is well. When you say very well, I'm well, that's bene and doesn't have two different things. So if you want to say very good, very well, no. So for instance, the dinner was very good. You can say molto buona, molto, very, or buonissima, as we say. But you can also say tutto bene, for instance. All good, all well, okay? Tutto bene, grazie. Even the waiter, when he comes to the restaurant and you just comes to the table and say, tutto bene? And you can answer, sì, tutto bene, grazie. Okay, so is everything good, everything well?
Oh, that's really interesting because, in Australia, we say all good quite a lot, don't we?
Yeah.
I don't know that it's said necessarily in other English-speaking countries, so I wonder if that's come from Italian migrants. Who knows? Like,
interesting. We can ask to comment maybe, and then we will know if someone actually using in their country that way. Yeah, it is. It is quite tricky because, especially when you learn the language, you can actually confuse a bit, like between bravo, buono, bene. So it's just a matter of like understand what is good for look, because in English you just say good, no? Good looking or good in taste is all the same word. When in Italian it is different by what you are describing.
Yeah, and I think Italians are really expressive about expressing that it's good. So they don't just say, well, I mean, you can say it's good or è bello or bella, but they use extra words, I find, a lot. You want to emphasize it, make it more.
Yeah, exactly. It's very true. More words and how we use the hands and how much we smile. So there is all this topic about la bella figura, no? Which is to make a good appearance. So if you want to make someone that is guessing you or like taking you around or is the restaurant or the waiter, and you really want to make them happy, you have to feed their ego and to make sure that they actually feel that they are doing a bella figura with you. So they are actually having a good appearance on you. If you don't sort of smile, if you don't make an effort, you can also do it in English, doesn't matter. But it's so important for Italian to have a good feedback, if there is one. But if you want to appreciate, it's very important to use your words, your smile, your hands, to make sure that they do understand. Because people just, especially with tourists, they do make a good effort. So it's nice to do it back. For instance, when my mom travels, she can't stop saying che. Okay, so che means what, literally. Yeah, in general, it means what, but it used in this way, like, for instance, che buono, what good in taste, but it literally means, it's like in English, would you translate it like how good, okay? Yeah, che buono. And then she goes around, like we're driving around streets in Australia, and then she starts to say, oh, che bello. Che bello, che bello, constantly. And you can repeat it so many times because somehow more you repeat it, more it makes the stuff that you are seeing beautiful. So yeah, che is another good little word to add before those, they call adjective, the description words. So you can say even che grande. Grande is big. So if you enter like in San Peter, Basilica di San Pietro, you actually will be like quite like impressed about how big it is. So you can say just, che grande, no? And it does make sense. It does make the feeling using this che. If you just want to say, that was so good. Che buono, no? Or che buona la pasta, no? You'll really make people happy if they hear you saying that.
Okay, I've got to confess now. I've been going to Italy for decades, and you just explained something I think really fundamental about the Italian psyche, which I noticed people saying it, but I didn't know why. And what you're saying is that people, like, they're looking for that feedback. You know, they're showing their appreciation to you if they're enjoying it too.
It is really important. Imagine how much effort, like, especially for job, like in restaurant, it's a heavy job. Like I was a waitress when I was studying, and you just stand for many hours. The system is not really set up like maybe in Australia, for instance, where you do 8 hours. If you're a waiter, maybe you do 8 hours and then you break for a bit and then you start again and then you do other 6 hours. So it's a long time, long hours. So if you have someone in front of you that just show appreciation, you just feel better. Like it just make your life, like you feel like you're doing something right. And we care so much about this bella figura, no? I always say in Italy, for instance, if you want to have, even in business, the first stuff you say is like, oh, che bel vestito, no? How beautiful dress. And then people, you'll notice straight away. It's like, really? Thank you. And then they change attitude, no? From the start. So it is very important.
Oh, I love it. This is so good because I think in Australia maybe, and I don't know in other countries so much, but I know here, like, you probably wouldn't say it unless you really meant it. You know what I'm sure people really mean it, but it's like, you wouldn't think to lead with those compliments. But now I know, well, I'm going to be dropping compliments left, right, and centre now when I'm in Italy because, that's so good. Wow. I love all these cultural differences. I'm going to try it with my husband tonight and see how that works. Being Italian, of Italian background, you never know.
Okay. You can start to say to him you can say, "Oh, che bello che sei oggi," how beautiful you are today. Maybe he will just do the dishes and take out the rubbish without even you to ask. So just start with that. It's interesting. It's funny that you say about Australia. I feel in Australia there is something very fun and different. Is when you enter in a shop and people ask, "Hi, how you doing?" or "How was your day?" And then I remember at the start, I actually was answering. I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm good. How are you?" Like, but that it's just a way to say in Australia, especially if you're at the cashier and just paying. People just say this sentence when actually in Italy, if people will ask, it's because they want to know. so yeah, it's cultural wise it is. So when we enter, for instance, in a shop, you probably, instead of saying "how you doing" or "how are you today," you will just say, you speak about the weather. Like you can say, che caldo. Again, che is used a lot. No, caldo means hot. How hot is today? No, or che sole, how big sun, like, which is like beautiful day. No, or che it's raining, che pioggia, or che giornata, what a day. No, beautiful day can be actually negative as well if you say it in a bad way, like che giornata, bad day.
Oh, I love it. You can learn all the words, and then if you don't know the context, then it's not as effective sometimes. Okay, you mentioned hand expressions as well. How do we use our hands in Italian to express gratitude?
Pointing. It's not too bad. Like Damien, my husband, always say, "Why are you always pointing things?" So pointing and showing what you like, it's good because again, when you don't know another language too much, then will help you. And then, I was just saying there is, for instance, buono. When something is very good, is you take your index and then you just put it on your cheek and then you turn up and down like this, and that means that was very good. So there are little things that people say without even realizing. Using hands is it's fun. There are lots of video YouTube that people maybe want to go and explore about Italian gestures.
The more expressive the hands, the more appreciation.
Yeah, exactly. And then if it's something big, you just open your hands much, or like, so just using your hands literally freely how you will think to use them, that will help your communication and show appreciation in general. Yeah. Shake hands. Good, like a good shake hand is important, not like a soft one. People maybe like, if you had a really, really good day with a private tour guide or whatever, you can even hug at the end, like 2 kisses and a hug. It's nice. It depends how is the feeling between you and the other person. Don't do it if you feel it forced. But if you feel like, oh, that was so nice and I will miss you, even if it was just we met just for a day, this is something we can do. Like, don't be scared of give a double kiss or a good shake hand.
If you're going to do the double kiss, though, which cheek do you go for? Because I always get this wrong because I've got French relatives and they do the other side.
So my head goes towards the left.
Okay. We can see each other. We're just practicing. No, I think that's nice. The Italians are very affectionate, aren't they? So the more that you're showing appreciation, the more you're probably going to get back to, I think. What about if you really want to say thank you for your help? How would we say that?
The sentence is actually a bit longer. So maybe in the show notes, we can write that down. But it's grazie per l'aiuto, which is thanks for, per we use it before, the help, l'aiuto. Grazie per l'aiuto. Or you could say grazie per, if it was a visit, a tour guide, grazie per la visita. Or grazie per la bella giornata, the beautiful day.
I like that one. Yeah.
So grazie per is thank you for, and then you can, if you don't know, you can just translate what you need to say thanks for. But yeah, grazie per, and then you add.
Now, I'm going to ask you this question because we do have a lot of different cultures on this call, and there's a lot of confusion, but I want to hear it from you, someone who's Italian and who has worked in the hospitality industry. A lot of people like to show appreciation through tipping, or they think that they might need to tip. How does it work in Italy?
Okay, so I will say it depends where you are. If you're in a coffee shop and the coffee was great and the service was nice, quick, you really enjoy. If the bill was €5.70, yeah, just put the 30 cents in the jug that is in front of you at the till. That is enough. If you might sit down, let's say at a cafe or a restaurant, and you have a longer service, then you don't have to tip. It's not mandatory. It's not like in America where you have to. In Italy, there is no rules that says that you have to tip. If you sort of think that the service was average, normal, maybe you don't. You also decide. You can decide, no, I'm not tipping. It's fine. I just pay whatever I need to pay. Or if you think it was like extremely overpriced, then you can also not tipping. But remember one thing. Even if it was overpriced, so even if you go in a very nice restaurant, you have to remember that the waiter will not actually earn much money. And also they will do lots of hours, and they most of the time like students. And if you receive a very good service, it's always good to just leave a tip to the waiter. So I always say just have some cash in it and then give it directly to the person. Or if it's all the restaurant, then you can put it on them wherever you pay. But if you really appreciate one person, then just give a tip to the person. And the amount of money is really based on how you feel. Back when I was a waitress, I usually got like €5-10. But when I work in very high-level restaurant, sometimes the people were tipping quite a lot. and we were really happy. And I think when you receive a tip and you keep receiving tips, you know you're doing a great job and you are actually motivated to do even more. People will be more keen to that kind of job because they know that somehow you can round up your salary with tips. So, I always say, really think about what kind of service you receive. And if you really enjoy, why not? If you can, why not leaving a tip, even if it's not mandatory? Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And what about if we're going to someone's house and we want to bring something up? We always also get a lot of questions on our Facebook group about, what should we bring? And I find it really interesting. And I was saying to Monica before, when we're coming from Australia, it's really cool because we've got all our animals are so cute. If you're going to visit kids and things, you can bring like a small soft toy koala or a plush kangaroo or something like that. And people love that, love it. Even we have that clip-on ones. I don't know if you've seen those.
Exactly.
I think what's good about that is it's super local and it's hyper local. So it's not something that's really generic. Like they really love something that's related to where you live and about your country or your town or something like that.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, it's nice. I mean, if it's the last minute things, you can always, buy flowers or whatever you'll do even when you are in your country. But if you can bring something from like where you live, I think people really, really appreciate exactly local things. That I think my favorite thing when I go and visit my friends now, whether they are kids or not, I just bring books. If they adult, I take photo books of where I live. There are beautiful photo books of Australia. There is one book. It's called Places Where We Swim, and there are all these beautiful photos of Australian beaches, and it's very nice. And same for the kids, like you have the Australian animals, and so that is it's something that I think people really appreciate. If they are into wine, just bring a good bottle of wine from where you're from. That could be another option, or local speciality, like let's say again in Australia, maybe macadamia, or it depends where you are from. Something very local of your area, it is really appreciated. And it's good to go again with something in your hand, because most of the time when you go and visit some Italian, even if they offer already dinner, they might give you stuff to bring home anyway. So if you arrive with nothing in your hands, then you will feel a bit like guilty. The other way is sending something. Yeah, my mum sometimes from Italy sends something like to our Australian friend via post, and that's something if you can't carry too much, just something to think about. Even a beautiful card with the landscape. It's also open up conversations, so you can speak about your place, and especially if the Italian. Unfortunately, not all the Italian travel so much, so it's good for them.
I'm going to bring a photo book of spiders. No, only joking. Everyone thinks, oh, we have so many snakes and spiders. Not really. We don't. I haven't seen a spider for years. I don't know what everyone's talking about. Anyway.
Yeah, it is true. Like, I don't know if you saw there was an election in Australia just 2 days ago. And it was super funny because every Italian newspaper published photos of Australian people going and vote in their swimmers. They were in Bondi Beach. And then everyone called me and says, oh, is this how you go and vote? And I said, no, there probably were just few people that decided to make it fun and go like this. But this is like every newspaper in Italy published this. So it's stereotype can be quite bad, like in every country, speaking about every country. So if you want to promote your place, just choose well what you're going to bring.
Oh, well, you told me you bought Vegemite, so that's a very local Australian thing. And every kid in Australia loves Vegemite because we grew up with it, and it's what we have. It's like sounds disgusting. It's a yeast-based extract spread, and it's black.
And the color is exactly like Nutella, or almost like Nutella. So people actually, when they decide to spread on top of bread, they just put a thick layer and think that this is going to be sweet. And it's not really like this. But it's if we're foodies, like if your friends are in Italy, they're really into food and they want to experiment. Even just something fun like this could be good, and just explain how to use it, and they might gonna like it. Who knows?
I think anything local is great. And if you're from America, I know people love, getting the baseball caps and things like that. So that's a really great way to show appreciation.
Or basketball things. And especially if they're kids, they just love NBA. And
Yeah, I think, I love this. I think we all need to do a better job of showing appreciation. So I always show appreciation to you and say molto bene. This has been a great chat. Grazie mille.
Another one, I can say grazie a te, means thanks to you.
I love it. But I do think my favorite word is buonissimo, because you do get to say that a lot.
Just sounds well, and rolls well. There are not many R in there, so...
I like the way you say ours. I have goals about saying ours the way you do. Anyway, now, Monica, for anyone that wants to stay in touch with you and maybe get some one-to-one tuition with one of your teachers, how can they do that?
I'll suggest just to jump on my website and book a meet and greet directly with me. It's a free chat that I'm happy to have with anyone. And we can just chat about how we can customize and we can learn some Italian or a lot of Italian based on your goal and what's your feeling at the moment. So that is a good starting point. If you travel to Italy soon, we have this course. It's called 4 Weeks to Italy. So it's an intensive course that lasts 4 weeks and give you all these tips that, we already spoke a bit of what we already spoken, a bit, definitely more. And again, has our one-to-one tuition including that. feel generous as always with you, Katy. So 50% of discount on the 4 weeks to Italy course or on the first 4 weeks of our program that is called Su Misura. But anyway, if you feel like just to have a chat and to see and discuss your goals, happy to hear from you.
Amazing. Well, this has been a lot of fun. Che divertimento.
Brava!
I love chatting with you, Monica, and I can't wait to see you in Italy, and I can't wait for you to move back to Melbourne so we can hang out some more.
Oh, yes, will be good. Will be very good. So, thanks again for having me here. I'll be here always, so I'm always happy to speak with you.
Grazie mille, Monica.
Ciao. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Now, for all of you listening, I'm doing lessons with one of Monica's teachers, and it's a very creative and hands-on program with lots of practicing using real-life examples, which I think makes all the difference. I was doing 1 lesson a week up until now, and I've just switched over to doing 2 because I am really very determined to get much, much better before I go over there in a few weeks. I have tried lots of different methods and honestly dip in and out of several, including online platforms like the one that my friend Michelle from Intrepid Italian offers too, as I really think you have to immerse your brain and try lots of different things to make the language stick. There's no one size fits all, so just give it a go and you'll be amazed at what you can achieve. If you are interested in speaking with a teacher and getting some direct Italian language coaching tailored to your needs, you can find all Monica's details in our website show notes at untolditaly.com/272 for episode 272. We've also added in the generous offer she mentioned for our listeners, so you'll have some additional motivation to get speaking Italian. Grazie ancora. Thanks again to all our wonderful listeners for your ongoing support of Untold Italy. I really do hope you enjoyed today's show. And if you did, then it would be amazing if you gave us a rating or review in your favourite podcast app. And that way, we can reach more Italy travel lovers just like you. Next week on Untold Italy, we're heading up north to South Tyrol for a delicious look at the food culture there. But until then, it's ciao for now. The Untold Italy podcast is an independent production. Podcast editing, audio production and website development by Mark Hatter, production assistance and content writing by the other Katy Clarke. Yes, there are 2 of us. For more information about Untold Italy, please visit untolditaly.com.